In this video, I'm going to show you what the new Pulsar ZywOo mice really are, from raw measurements, heat signatures, build quality test, weight, coding, and everything else in between. And you all know, I'm a big ERGO fan. I've been maining ERGOs for years, so throughout this video, you're going to hear me compare it up to some other ERGO mice, and especially my main and the king of ERGO mice being the ZywOo EC. Now, you all know I don't like quoting back of the box or website specs, as you can look those up yourself. I like talking about my actual time with them, but if you're interested in that, here they are. And as far as inside of your box, of course, you're going to get your mice, which these mice do come in a white version as well. And in this video, we're going to be talking about the mini and then the medium size as well. But as far as in your box, of course, you get your cable, which it does have that little angle on the side, but it's a wireless mouse, so I don't think many of us will be using a cable. You do get the 8K polling dongle with it, which is really cool. It's got the ZywOo branding, and then it's a little like screw logo on the side, which is pretty cool. Just, again, a nice little style to the Pulsar dongles. You get this little ZywOo card, you get a manual, and then you get this little bit right here, which is a screwdriver and a weight, which I never used. And you know what? While we're at it, let's go on and try. They say it's supposed to be really easy to remove with just these screws on the back side. All right, so we got our two screws out here. And again, this is my first time doing this, so I'm not sure how this is supposed to come out or anything, because I had no intentions on using the weight. All right, so we're just gonna pop out, and I'm guessing we're just gonna slide out of the front. Bam. There we go, right there. I doubt you guys can see that in the camera, but there's a little plastic lip right there. I'm not sure who will really want to add extra weight just to the backside. That's kind of weird. All right, so moving on. Let's go ahead and get some raw measurements here rather than just, again, website measurements, and starting with the mini. As far as length, you can see right at there at 113. Going right over to the medium, we're getting 118. So not drastic in the length, actually. Now, if you go grip width to grip width here on the mini, we're pretty much right underneath the buttons there, coming in at 61. And then, did I say mini? That was the medium, actually. Over here on the mini is 58. And then as far as that hump, right here, sensor and mid right in the buttons, as you can see, that's where it's placed. Coming in at 41 on the mini. Coming over here to the medium, we are coming in right around 42, pretty close to 43 right there. And then if we look at the top bit here, I'm gonna go right from the buttons to flare out on the side. 63 or 62 over here on the mini, from the buttons to the side, right around 57 to 58. So you're just seeing a couple millimeters off from each of them. But what else I want to show you, make sure we're set back to 0, just compared up to some raw measurements of the other mice. This is the ZywOo EC2. We're coming in at 122. And then as far as that grip width, we're coming in at 60. And then that mid hump, we are coming in at 41. So you're kind of noticing it's right in between right there. Now let's take a look at the Razer Death Adder V whatever Pro, V2 Pro. 124, and then that width, we're looking at 62, and then that hump height, we are looking right at 42, pretty close to 43, and then the Pulsar X Lite here. Let's get this. This is the size 2, so I believe that's the medium, 121, and then that grip width, we are looking at 59, and then that hump, we are looking right at 41. So as you're seeing, the ZywOo mice, as far as measurements, when we compare it up to some really other popular ERGO mice here, they're not the same, but they're fairly close in the measurements. But let's get those heat signatures and you're gonna see where they really differ. Now, this is really gonna solidify what I was just talking about. So we're gonna be doing the heat signatures here. And if you guys have been for my mouse videos, you know what this does. Just shows the grip point of each different mouse. And of course, this will differ hand shape and how you grip it. But as far as the core difference of what I'm talking about with ERGOs, this will really solidify what I was talking about. So first I want to show you the mini here, and getting this in my hand, how I gamed with it. Again, I'm going to get some heat transferred over. You can see my grip point right here. So I have my palm, and then it's kind of stretched out right there. It's not really in my hand fully, but anyways, getting it under the heat signature camera here and let it transfer over. I'll release, bam, and take a look at that right there. So I got that little bit of hump, but I'm not all the way on the bottom. I got my thumb over here on the side, but take a look at my fingers. That's what I really want to show you, is how it's rolling right here from the back grip all the way up to the front and over onto the side right there. So you just see it's a really nice smooth transition going over, because these mice are pretty rounded out. So let's go on and get the medium here, as we just checked the mini, and it's night and day going with the medium. Like, look at this thing. Like, when I get it in my hand, this is like a true palmer, right? Like, it is in my hand completely. So let's get this heat transferred over here. I'm gonna release it and just look at that difference. Like, oh my goodness. Take a look at that back hump back here going right over to the thumb. And that's exactly how it feels. But you also have that transition from the back palm up to the fingers. So all the way around this entire mouse is just like this perfect, plump, just thing in your hand, you know what I mean? Like, it truly sits in your hand. And the vibes it really gives me is Razer Death Adder V3 Pro. So let's get some heat transfer of this, and you're gonna see the same vibe on this as we got with the ZywOo medium size. So anyways, let's go and get that heat transferred. I'm gonna let go and just look at right there. Like, now this mouse does feel bigger than the medium ZywOo for sure, but you get the same vibes, right? You got that palm back there rolling up to the fingers. As far as on a top, same bit. You got that grip point on the back rolling right up to the fingers. Now, if we come over here to a Pulsar X-Lite, this is kind of, this is definitely more Zowie EC type vibes, where you can really kind of jive with this mouse. Like, you can hold it up here a little bit more, or you can pull it into your palm. I would say how I use it is kind of in between both of those, right? So if I let go, you're gonna see it right here. You do got that back palm up into the fingers, but as far as on the thumb, you got that little bit of gap right there because it's a little bit more slender. It's not like fully plump or big like the V3 or ZywOo size medium. Anyways, the X-Lite or the Zowie EC2. I'm getting confused with all these different ergos here, right? But anyways, let's get some heat transfer on this one. This is the same as the Pulsar X-Lite, right? That's what the Pulsar is. It's a EC clone. But anyways, transferring the heat on this, you can see same type of vibe, right? You got that gap over here from your thumb, but still on the front, you got that nice flow. Now, the good thing about like the EC2 or the Pulsar X-Lite is it's very versatile. You can pull it in the back of your palm if you're playing a slower paced game, or you can still flick and dip it, kind of dance it around a bit, right? So as you see, I can pull it in the back of my palm, and I got that nice vibe right there where everything's just flowing. That's the cool thing about the X-Lite or the Zowie EC. It's just versatile. You can still dance them around, or you can still palm them. When over here on the, what you call ZywOos, when you get to the medium, it's pretty much straight up a palm. Same with the Razer Death Adder V3 Pro. It's just straight up a palm. So I apologize for rambling so long with the heat signature test there, but I really wanted to show you guys that because these ZywOo mice, like, I think right out the gate, a lot of us will think, yo, this is just another EC clone, right? It's just another EC Ergo, but it's really not, because again, it doesn't feel like the EC or the X-Lite at all, right? And these are mice I've mained for years. Again, the medium definitely feels like the Death Adder V3. It's a big mouse, this ZywOo medium over here. And then when you come to the mini, it's not just a mini, right? Like, you think, oh, it's just a smaller ergo, but it's really crazy because I personally enjoyed the mini more than the medium, you know what I mean? Definitely more for FPS or fast paced. Coming over here to the medium was more or less like if I'm playing Destiny, if I want to really hold those shots, because that is exactly how this is. You truly hold your shots and your aim. So maybe if you snipe or you play like something a little slower paced, that's where the medium comes into play. But straight out the gate, no, these are not just EC clones. And I really hope those heat signature tests justified that and showed you that. Let's go on and move on and talk about the weight of the ZywOo mice. I shall probably chime in about the shape a whole lot more throughout this video, but taking a look at the weight, I want to compare it up to these other three. This is the Zowie EC2C whatever WDW, the newest wireless version. Again, Pulsar X-Lite V3, and then a Death Adder V3. So anyway, starting with the ZywOo medium here, and these weights are not included in the back. Again, I think that thing is crazy. Coming in right at, let's just call it 57 grams. Let me tell you what, these mice are balanced amazing. Like, they are really nice, well balanced. When you put that weight in the back, again, you definitely got that loft in the back. Let me know if that's something you'd use. That's just weird. Like, that's bringing it back to the early 2000s, right? Coming over here to the medium version, slapping it on the scale, we're getting right at 60.7, so we'll just call it 61. Coming over here to the Death Adder V3 Pro, 62. Over here on the X-Lite V3, we are getting 54. And then the Zowie EC2CW, whatever. Man, that's a long name. We're getting pretty much, let's just call it 60 grams. Now let's go and take a look at the build quality test. And y'all know I pull out the force gauge meter as I press into it in pounds. So I'm not just saying, oh, hey, I'm gripping it tighter or I'm gripping it here. This is just a flat baseline test so we can see if there's any flex. And I will tell you, using the medium or the small, as far as my game time using it, actually in my hands, which I am a firmer gripper, I didn't feel any flex in any of them. But anyways, let's go out and get the force gauge meter and press in by the side buttons. And I will tell you right there, I don't know if the camera can pick that up, but I am seeing a little bit of flex right when I get to like the, I would say 11 to 12 pound mark. Again, none of us are going to be pressing the side 11 to 12 pounds, but I do see it there. On the back side, I'm not getting any on the middle or back end. Over here on this side, very firm. I'm going up to like 15 and I'm not getting anything. As far as the bottom, of course, we're going to get some flex right around the 8 pound mark, but you see it is fully complete down there, unlike with like the X-Lite V3 where it is open on the bottom. But again, none of us are going to be pressing our mouse on the bottom. But again, as I mentioned, using these, whether it be the medium or the mini version here, I never noticed or felt any flex. Like the build quality on these things are solid. Now, as far as the coating on the ZywOo mice, as you can see, they are matte. They do collect sweat and grease and just grime as you see it right here. And they do have a very nice grippy texture. I don't know if I want to say it's like that soft type texture as this Death Adder V3. This is one of the ones with the updated texture. And it's almost like that baby smooth, kind of almost feels rubberish, right? You don't really get that vibe over here, but it's not really like, I don't know, it's hard to compare it to my EC or my X-Lite because I use these so much, so that coating is worn down a little bit. But again, it almost feels just like the X-Lite and pretty much just like the ZywOo EC with maybe just a little bit more texture. But again, these two mice have been used, I mean, a lot. These are a little bit newer, even though I've used them quite a bit. But they are grippy. They definitely are grippy and they feel nice in the hand. Now I want to go ahead and show you the buttons on this mouse. And first up on the bottom, as you see, you do have a DPI button down here, and then you have your on and off switch. And if there's one thing I would complain about with this mouse, is this on and off switch. Like I wish it was kind of textured or a little bump in there, because you almost gotta like dig your nail into the back to kind of fling it up. As you see, it is flush and smooth with the mouse. Just a kind of a goofy design right there, right? But anyways, as far as the side buttons, very nice. They definitely protrude out right there, so you can definitely feel them. You got a little gap in there, so you can decipher the front and the back one. As far as the front buttons, very nice and solid. A little bit of movement, but you never notice those in game. And then when you press them down, you can see they're pretty much down and they bottom out right there. Very nice and crispy. And you see you got the little pink accent in there, which I'm not a pink fan, so luckily the mouse is always facing forward and you never see it. As far as the scroll wheel, nice and recessed, so you can just roll your finger right over it. It's actually lower than, say, like the X-Lite right there, so really nice. It's not like a speed bump. You can kind of roll over it, and it is rubber textured as well. Let me give you a listen. The buttons on these ZywOo mice are absolutely solid, incredibly crispy. Again, no give on the side buttons or the front buttons or anything. They just feel incredibly solid. But there is one weird thing with the buttons that could just be for my grip style here, and it definitely only goes into play with the mini. I don't really notice it too much on the medium, which is weird, right? So on the mini, as far as when I grip it, my fingers just kind of rest down on it. So I'm kind of like that. You can see it's not really in my palm. So my fingers are resting up onto the buttons and then right towards the back bit. So what I'm noticing is this little crease right here from the buttons right up to there. I kind of feel that gap where the shell is kind of raised up a bit from the buttons, probably very hard to see in the camera. And again, this could be just my grip style right here as I play this and I'm just resting my fingers across it. When I come over here to the medium, my hand's just going across it really, and it's kind of right there, and then it lifts up, if you can see right there. When over here, it just, my fingers rest across the whole hump, so I feel that little gap, and it does feel a little bit annoying, even though it's, you know, I'm nitpicking here, but it is something I noticed I wanted to mention. Now, as far as the software on the ZywOo mice, it's actually web-based, which you can find it right down here. If you go into the mouse, you're going to click Discover. You can scroll all the way down here. and we'll find the web base right here where you can see launch software, which is pretty weird. So anyways, we're gonna come here. Oh, let me go back to Pulsar main page here, load that up. And then the way you can actually find it without having to scroll through the shopping page of the mouse is come right here to download, which again is a little weird because it's web-based. Come over here to ZywOo, click the mouse you have selected, and you're actually gonna click download, right? But it's not gonna download, it's just gonna come up here. We're gonna click ZywOo, and again, it comes up to the web base. So kind of weird why it's under the download tab. As you know, some companies still make you go through the actual shopping page of the mouse. But anyways, I just wanted to show you that there, as it is a little bit weird. But as far as your core settings, the same as we see in every mouse, right? You can customize your buttons here. You got multiple profiles you can choose, shows what polling rate you're using, your connectivity, and then your battery life. And by the way, my battery life was absolutely flawless. Not sure why my stabilization is knocking down here a little bit. That's kind of weird. But anyways, coming over here to performance, you have your DPIs, which you can adjust over here in stages or set it just to one stage if you want, and then you can adjust it there. You have your rotation calibration, which I never really messed with. Your polling rate, again, I keep mine at 4,000. Motion sync, ripple control, and angle snapping. These are the two that I keep on in my test. And then you got liftoff distance, 3 different to choose from. I keep mine at 1 millimeter, perfectly fine. The DPI can be right on the front of the mouse right there. I just keep mine off to preserve battery life. Coming over here to power. This is pretty cool. And with the dongle here, as you can adjust 2 different LEDs. So number 1 here, you can adjust, again, off, polling rate, motion sync, or liftoff distance. And then LED 2 or 1, you can choose from these settings. Now I keep the first one off, as you know, I keep mine set as that, and that's really it. I don't need to see it. And then I keep my battery life on, which is just some notification I really like. I do that with like the Razer mice as well. So I think that's cool that you can see 2 different LEDs. It would be cool if you can adjust these to see different things, right? So you're not just tied to those on 2 and these to 1. But anyways, I just think it's cool that you can utilize both LEDs right there. And then you got settings over here as far as firmware and stuff. And right out of the box, I did have to do a firmware update. But anyways, as far as the software, really nice for it to be web-based, very simple to use. But again, just weird why you can either go to the web page and go to web-based, or on Pulsar's direct site, you go to actually download, which is just strange. Now, as far as the performance on these mice, absolutely flawless. That's with the medium or the mini, as I've used both of them extensively. I mean, no hiccups, delays, stutters, lag, or anything. And I run my mice at 4,000 polling rate. When I go up to 8,000, I don't know if it's my system, I just noticed some, again, hiccups there, as I run my keyboards at 4,000 as well. So it just kind of keeps it at a nice balanced playing level. But these mice were absolutely flawless. By the way, my DPI is 1300. I went from like 400, 800, and now I'm at 1300 these days. But again, these mice, as far as me playing a lot of Splitgate 2 these days, absolutely flawless, very, very precise, and again, steady, right? Like they really maintain their performance throughout all of my gameplay. No hiccups or anything. The biggest thing, I don't know if we call this as far as performance, but the biggest thing I notice is, again, the shape. Like me playing FPS, I'm a faster player. I don't really sit back and scope out or anything. And I went to the medium. Again, it's definitely a slower styled gameplay. It definitely locks your shots. It holds it in there. You're going to hold it steady, which is what I like when I play like Destiny. I like the Death Adder V3 Pro when I play Destiny. Just a bigger mouse that I can sit there and play for hours, and my hand and wrist is going to be perfectly fine. But when I go to FPS, Call of Duty, or again, Splitgate 2, what I'm playing right now, I really, really enjoyed the Mini, which is crazy because you all think, oh, Techne's going to love the bigger ERGO, you know? But no, it was definitely the Mini when I played FPS with this mouse, because I can flick and dip it and just dance it around and play fast, which is how I play FPS. But again, both of them performed great. It's just, seriously, the shape is very, very different, even though one's just a medium and mini. They definitely play different in games. So my overall conclusion and verdict on the new Pulsar ZywOo mice, I mean, if you stuck through this video, you can pretty much catch on. Like, these mice are phenomenal. They are really good. Like, seeing a fresh ERGO like this, that's not just another clone, is just, again, makes my passion bleed, you know, as an ERGO fan. Like, I absolutely love these mice, but what I want you to really take from this video is they are significantly different, and not just from a medium to mini, right? How you're going to actually use them and how they're going to fit in your hand. And I think some of you might be asking, like, will it be my new main? Will it replace my ZywOo EC or X-Lite V3, right? The EC shape. And no, it will not. As I mentioned in the heat signatures, the EC is just a mouse that's very versatile. I can palm it, pull it in the back. I can still dance it around, flick and dip it. You know, it's just a mouse that's very versatile. Is that just muscle memory and I've been using this shape for so long? Possibly. But again, this is my main and it will still continue to be my main right now. As much as I really like these ZywOo mice, I'd have to keep both of them on my desk. As playing like a slower paced game, I'd need a medium. Going into FPS, I'd have to use the small. When with the EC, I can just leave this one mouse on my desk and be comfortable across every game. But that could also be just muscle memory.